Hello, and welcome to another episode of Casual Learning. I'm your host, John Bannan. What's the deal with becoming a better distance runner? You may have run into coaches or others who will tell you that you can only run as fast as your genes or your DNA will allow you to run, and you're stuck with that. And if you're not a faster runner and you want to be, blame your genes. Um, That's not entirely true. There are ways to become faster and run better as a distance runner. If somebody tells you that you can't get any better um, because of your genes, that person is really just giving you an excuse. And it's a very dangerous excuse because it's not true. You can become better. And if a coach tells you that, it's because the coach is lazy and or ignorant, poorly informed coach, uh, and doesn't want to have to think about how to try to get you better, or maybe doesn't want to get you better, and rather have you think you can't get better. That way, they don't have to put any effort into trying to get you better. Um, so, in distance running, in particular, there is room to get better, and the reason for that is distance running has a large aerobic component to it. And the aerobic component is all about endurance. And that's a trainable aspect of your physical conditioning. And you can continuously improve your endurance ability. And from what I read, you don't really plateau for 7 years. So you could look forward to 7 years of improving. Um, Will you get big jumps every year? Probably not. But you can improve in distance running. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. It's not true. You can. Um, so, in the distance races, what are they? They're, generally speaking, for high school, the most recognized distance races are the 800, the 1600, the 3200, the 5K. Now, there are other races in between these that are run, but these are the most common. The 1600 is also, generally, that's also the mile. The 3200 meter is the 2 mile. 5K could be cross country, or it could be a 5K on a track. In college, you can run 8K or 10K, something like that. But these are the distance races. This area up here, up to the mile, the 1600, the metric mile, those are considered middle distance races. It's because they're closer to a sprint. And these are the distance races, pure distance races. Now, there's a big difference between a sprint and a distance race. Now, a sprint is generally any sort of race that's 400 meters or less. Distance is 400 meters or more, basically starting at the 800. And the reason there's this big separation between sprinting versus distance is because of the energy systems your body uses to primarily fuel these races. In sprinting, it's primarily an anaerobic event. So it's using the anaerobic energy system. It's creating a lot of lactic acid and hydrogen ions in your bloodstream. And at a certain point, if you're running as hard as you can, you'll feel that lactic burn, and it'll overload your body. And at some point, you just have to stop. You just have to stop running. You can't just run as fast as you can run, indefinitely. You can't do it. Generally speaking, this is a big generalization. The anaerobic system gives you about 2 minutes of running, and after that, you collapse from lactic acid overload. Your muscles are burning, and you have to stop. And that's generally what sprinting is all about. It's using that anaerobic energy system and fighting that lactic acid burn as long as you can. but it's, generally speaking, it's about a 2-minute race. So at best, it could be just a 1-minute use of anaerobic energy system when until your body just shuts down, depending on how fast you're running. If you're running full out, it may be less. It may be less than a minute before you hit that wall and that lactic acid burn that makes you stop. So that's what really defines the sprint. It's primarily dealing with lactic acid and that anaerobic energy system. But that generally lasts at most 2 minutes. So, how long does a 2-minute race last? Or maybe a 1-minute race? The 1-minute race may be a 400. 2-minute race, that's about an 800. So some people say an 800 is an extended sprint because of that. But that's not exactly true, because if you're running as fast as you can, you're not going to be able to do that for 2 minutes. You'll be able to do it for a minute or maybe 30 seconds or less. That's what sprinting is all about. Whereas distance running, the primary fuel for distance running is the aerobic energy system. And the aerobic energy system is the one that uses oxygen. The anaerobic system does not. The aerobic system starts kicking in after 2 minutes. And that's where you're getting all the energy from the air you're breathing in. And that can allow you to run a long time, but at a much slower rate than you would if you were sprinting. And that aerobic system and how you run with that aerobic system is what essentially defines distance running. When there's a large aerobic percentage of energy being contributed to a race, that's a distance race. And when it's a large percentage of anaerobic energy, well, that's a sprint. That's really how the two races are defined. And that's a big difference between those two races, which energy system you're using. So don't let anyone ever make you think that, distance is really the same as sprinting. It's not. It uses two complete different energy systems. One, anaerobic, no oxygen, aerobic oxygen. There's a big difference between those two types of energy systems. And there's a big difference between sprinting and distance. Very big difference. As a result, you could be not a great sprinter at all, but a great distance runner. Why? Because you're using a different energy system. Your body may be really great at that aerobic energy system and using that in an efficient manner, whereas with your anaerobic system, it's not that great. The sprinters generally have more fast twitch muscles. They're born with this. And that allows them to go really, really fast. And they can really, they have to focus on that anaerobic energy system and maximizing that. But let's say you don't have a lot of fast twitch muscles. Well, you may still be at a great elite distance runner because your aerobic system is tremendous. You have great circulatory system. You have a very powerful heart, powerful lungs, or you've developed your heart and lungs, your cardiary pulmonary system through training and conditioning to be really good. And you can become a much better distance runner. You can improve. There's much, much, much more room to improve as a distance runner than there is a sprinter. The argument that your running ability is defined by your genes holds much more true with sprinters than it does distance runners. Okay, so you got these races, and how much of it's aerobic, how much of it's anaerobic, right? Well, we got the aerobic component and the anaerobic component. You got to understand, your body's using both systems at the same time when it runs, but it's using them to different extents. So with the 800, it's relying on the aerobic system 50% of the time and the anaerobic system 50% of the time. With the 1600, it's more 70-30. With the 3200, it's 87-13. And with the 5K, it's 92-8. So the percentage of aerobic processes that are used to fuel these races goes up substantially as the distance of the race increases. Um, so when you're running 2 miles uh, at 80% aerobic, that's, that's almost primarily an aerobic event. Very little anaerobic component to that. This really doesn't depend on sprinting ability at all. This certainly doesn't require sprinting ability. If you're just sprinting these two races, it'll be at the start, or maybe when you're passing somebody, or at the end of the race when you're sprinting for the finish line. That's the only time you sprint in these races. The rest of the time, it's all aerobic. And when you start a race, you're not even using your anaerobic system. You're using the lactic system, which is a different energy source altogether, but it only lasts like 8 seconds, and you can only use it once. You use it at the start of the race, because you don't use it at the start. You sprint for 8 seconds at the start of the race, because if you don't use it then, you lose it. It doesn't create any lactic acid, so it's not harmful. So you use it. You sprint for 8 seconds at the beginning of the start of the race, even if you're in a 5K. Even. Just do it, because it's free energy. You should use it. But that's an entirely different energy system. Distance is aerobic. So this is why you can improve as a distance runner. Whereas sprinters have a much more difficult time improving, if they even can. And even then, they might only be able to improve by a second or something like that. Where distance runners, they can improve by minutes in a race. There's a lot of room in distance to improve. Well, in distance, how do you improve? You improve by conditioning. Generally speaking, you have to improve your ability to use the aerobic energy system. And for distance runners, that means high weekly mileage of running. It means VO2 max workouts. It means tempo runs, trying to address your lactic threshold. These things are done year after year after year, and you can get better. You can improve your cardiovascular system, and you'll be a better runner. Long runs help. They build up the mitochondria in your leg muscles. The power packs, the batteries of the cells. You can improve those. You can improve the number of capillaries in your muscles, which improves the oxygen delivery system. VO2 maxes improve the amount of oxygen that your body absorbs while you run. And the more oxygen you have in your blood, the better you're going to run, because your muscles are being powered by the oxygen in the air. There's a big difference. There's a concept you have to understand as a distance runner. There's something called conditioning. And then there's something called race ready. Okay. Conditioning versus race ready. Now, in order to run a fast race, let's say at the main meet of the year, you have to be race ready. Your body has to be up to speed, running as fast as it can. And it takes, about 3 to 4 weeks to become race ready. And it involves mostly high-intensity speed workouts, track workouts, uh, during your practices to get your body up to as fast as it can go for that big race. Um, and that's different than conditioning. Conditioning is a process of constantly improving your aerobic system, your cardiovascular system over time, so that when you become race ready, you run better than you did the last time, the last season, last time you ran. And if you don't improve your conditioning, your race times will probably stay the same year after year after year, and you won't see any improvement because you haven't improved your conditioning. You've gotten back up to speed, you've become race ready, but race ready based on the same level of conditioning. And unless you improve that level of conditioning through the years, your race times are going to stay the same. And you may wonder, why aren't I improving? Why not? Well, the reason is because you're not improving your conditioning. Maybe your coach just doesn't concern himself with conditioning. And that's a shame because with those sorts of coaches, the people on the team, the distance teams, generally don't get any better from year to year. You can't get better from year to year, generally speaking, unless you improve your conditioning. And if your coach isn't working on improving your conditioning, you're not going to get any better from year to year to year. So first thing you got to do is you got to improve your conditioning. Um, Once you're race ready and let's say you stop running or you go off of the speed workouts, you can detrain very, very quickly. So maybe 4 to 6 weeks you detrain. And then you're running as slow as you ever ran before a race. You don't want to race at that point. And it just goes to show you how quickly you can get into race-ready form and how quickly you can detrain back down to a baseline level where you're kind of slow. But the key to becoming a better distance runner is conditioning. And when does conditioning happen? Well, conditioning happens in all those times that are not, 3 to 4 weeks before the race, the main race of the season, before you're in the process of becoming race ready. You're in the process of peaking. Every other time that's not that, you should be involved in improving your conditioning. With exceptions, you may be taking a 2-week break between seasons and you're not doing anything then. That's fine. But all the other times, it should be conditioning. If you're not in that race-ready peak phase, heading for the main meet of the season, you should be conditioning, constantly improving your conditioning. That's how you get better. And you can get better. Don't think that your genes will stop you. You got about 7 years before you plateau in terms of your conditioning as a distance runner. You're not a sprinter. Sprinters are very different story altogether. So you can get better. You can. But you need a coach who understands that. Now, some coaches, let's say it's spring track season and it's 3 months and the main race is at the end of the season. But let's say you're starting races, dual meets in high school as early as 1 month after the track season starts. And the coach is thinking, oh, I want to get you race ready for the very first meet of the year. And it's going to take him a month to do that. A month of speed workouts on the track to get you race ready. So he may spend the first month of spring track just getting you race ready for the first meet of the year. Where's your conditioning? There isn't any. He hasn't done any conditioning. And that may be why you're not getting any better as a distance runner, because your coach isn't engaging in any conditioning activities. Well, if you don't engage in conditioning activities, you're not going to get better. So what's your priority? Is your priority just to run as fast as you did last year or the year before that so the coach can win a meet? Or do you want to get better? Maybe you want to become an elite runner and you want to, get the attention of some college coach. Well, if that's the case, you better be conditioning. I don't care what your high school coach says or wants you to do. You've got to be involved in conditioning if you want to get better as a distance runner. Plain and simple. So, what kind of conditioning is there? Well, there's, the most general sort of conditioning is base building. And base building is generally a lot of miles, running miles, easy days, long days. And it's done for a long time. And there's a saying that, the bigger the base, the taller the peak. So a lot of distance runners think this. So it's sort of like a triangle. And their base building is done here, maybe in the off season, very early preseason, very long base that they're building. It's a lot of miles they're running every week. And the payoff comes later when they become race ready up here and they peak and they run their fastest at the main meet of the season. But they build a big base. The bigger the base, the bigger the peak. Other forms of conditioning for distance runners, besides lots of miles, long days, are lactic threshold runs, tempo runs. And these are very important for distance runners in terms of conditioning because you're training your body to be able to continue running and hold down the buildup of lactic acid in your blood. And because as soon as that lactic acid starts building up and overcoming your blood system, you slow down, you hit the wall, you look like you're running in slow motion. And once that happens to you, your race is over. If that happens to you during the race, you're in trouble. You're going to run a slow distance race. So tempos are the way to train your body to reabsorb lactic acid and keep that lactic acid levels down as much as possible so you can run faster and further. So tempos are a big aspect of conditioning. Later in the season, when you get closer to the end of it, you might be doing a lot of VO2 max workouts, building up that lung capacity, the ability of your body to absorb oxygen. Maybe you do a combination of VO2 max and lactic threshold workouts during a particular phase of your training. That's also conditioning. And then eventually you get to the peak phase of conditioning where you're really just primarily getting race ready, getting as fast as you can, doing a lot of speed workouts. 5 to 6 speed workouts on the track will be enough to do it. 3 to 4 weeks. There's not a lot of conditioning that goes on at that point. At that point, you're taking your prior conditioning and you're seeing how what can it do? I've improved my conditioning. I should be able to run faster. I'm going to the peak phase of the season, and I'm going to take that conditioning and squeeze it and see what it can do for me. You start your taper maybe 2 weeks before the big meet of the season. So that's when your supply of conditioning is important. That's when you're going to use that to become faster and better than you were last season. But it all begins with conditioning. If you're not working on your conditioning, don't expect to run any faster from year to year. You won't. In fact, you might run slower because you lose motivation. Because you figure, I can't run any faster. What's the point? So if you're not conditioning, you're not going to get any better from year to year. But if you are conditioning, you will. How much better? That depends on the person, but you should get better. Let me give you an example of how conditioning plays a role in distance training. Um, how would you train for cross country? Uh, well, you know, most of the conditioning that goes on for cross country occurs in the summer, before cross country season even begins. So if you want to make big improvements in cross country, you better be working on your conditioning in the summer. If you haven't, then don't expect to get any better. You might even be worse. If you didn't run at all, you're going to definitely be worse in the fall. Conditioning is the key. So let's say in a cross-country program, maybe there's the first 2 weeks of the program as it begins might be distance reorientation. And this is 2 weeks. Basically, you're taking a 2-week break from the end of spring track. You're starting back up. This is getting you reoriented back to distance running. That might involve 6 days of easy distance running and 1 day of active recovery. And active recovery would be about 75% of your normal distance, and it's a conversational pace during the run. You're renewing your training routine. That's what you're doing. All right, the next phase will be the base building phase. Base building phase. And this will take maybe 5 weeks. So there's a lot of conditioning that's starting to go on here. Typical schedule in the base building phase, maybe Monday you do a transitional lactic threshold run in a pace between your easy runs and a tempo run. And then Tuesday you'll do aerobic running, maybe 90 to 95% of your regular distance day. Wednesday, you're just doing distance. Thursday, a light speed workout, maybe 3 sets of 200s on grass. Friday is a distance day. Saturday, long run. Do a long run, about 2.5 to 3 times your race distance, whatever that is. And then Sunday might be an active recovery day where it's an easy run where you're running the race distance, whatever that is, or maybe you're doing cross training instead of active recovery day. That's a typical base building phase. So you're putting in a lot of miles, a lot of weekly miles. So you're building your base. And weekly miles for a distance runner, you basically can be anywhere from 40 to 70 miles a week, even higher than that. But generally speaking, it's in there somewhere around 40 to 70. Generally speaking, it could be anywhere from 40 to 50, maybe even 60 miles a week, depending on whether you're a girl or you're a boy, and also depending on how many miles do you need to get better. Some people need more miles. They put in more miles, they get significantly better. Some people don't need to put in as many miles. Maybe that's the person who only has to run 40 miles a week. Depends on the person, and that's something you got to kind of figure out over time. And hopefully you have a coach who can help you with that. But base building, you're putting in essentially a lot of miles. So what's the next phase? That's the lactate threshold phase. And this can last 7 weeks. Notice you got 2 weeks, 5 weeks, that's 7 weeks, another 7 weeks, that's 14 weeks, that's 3.5 months. That's like your whole summer, right? So what's happening in the lactic threshold phase? Well, typical workout week would be Monday you do a lactic threshold work like a tempo. Tuesday you might do an easy distance run. Wednesday, light speed workout, like 4 sets of 300s or 5 sets of 200s on grass. Thursday might be another easy distance run. Friday, again, another lactic threshold workout or tempo run. So you're doubling up on the lactic threshold workouts. 2 a week. That's how important the tempo in the lactic threshold run is to distance runners. It's extremely important workout. And you're doing it twice a week for 7 weeks. You don't do any workout more often than the tempo as a distance runner. That's how important it is. But it's also a conditioning workout. So it happens, it doesn't happen during the peak phase of the season, but it does happen for an immense amount of time in the summer. Very, very important workout for distance runners. And then Saturday, you'll do a long run. If you're running 5 to 6 Ks, you might do 11 to 13 miles. That's your long run. And then Sunday, an active recovery day. An easy run about the whatever race distance you're going to run, or cross training, some sort of cross training. So what's the next phase? Now, your program can be a little bit different than this. This is just to give you an example, to give you an idea of what they're like. So the next phase is mixed lactic threshold VO2 max phase. And this may last 2 weeks. So again, you still haven't left the tempo behind. You're still getting more tempo workout, but now you're throwing in the VO2 max as well to improve that, the ability to absorb oxygen through your lungs. A typical schedule for that would be Monday, you would do a lactic threshold workout or a tempo run. Tuesday, easy run. Wednesday, light speed workout, maybe 4 sets of 200s. Thursday, an easy run. And then Friday, a VO2 max workout. You might do repeats or intervals of 3 to 8 minutes in length with a short recovery where your total volume is equal to about the race distance or slightly over. So you're really getting a good VO2 max workout here. An 8-minute repeat is a long time to run. I mean, that might be, you could be running at least a 1600, quite possibly sets of 2400s or 2000s, something like that. So you're talking about pretty long repeats. This is the part of the season where those sort of repeats appear, the really long ones. That's really to get your VO2 max going. Get you exercising like this throughout the entire repeat for a long time. Because when you breathe like that, you're panting while you're running. Guess what you're doing? You're exercising your lungs and your capacity for your lungs to bring in oxygen. So that's what you're doing here. These VO2 max workouts, you're running a long time and you're panting a lot. That's how you improve your lung capacity and your ability to absorb oxygen through the air. Very important to the aerobic energy system. All right, so what's the next phase? The next phase is the VO2 max phase. And this might last 4 weeks. So notice you've dropped the tempo runs and the threshold runs, and now you're focusing on VO2 max because you're getting closer to the big race of the year, and getting that oxygen into your system and practicing that becomes very important. A lot of your conditioning is already happened, and now you're conditioning your lungs to bring in that oxygen and use the conditioning that you built up earlier to make you run farther and faster and improve your times. So a typical schedule for the VO2 max phase might be Monday, you do a VO2 max workout. This time you're doing shorter repeats of 3 to 6 minutes in length, with a volume at race distance on non-racing weeks, and 75 to 80% on racing week. So within this phase, this may be where your racing is beginning in the season. But your repeats are shorter, so this is where you're gonna 3 to 6 minute repeats. This is where you're starting to see lower repeats, like 800s to maybe 1200s, somewhere in that area. Maybe 1600s even. So then Tuesday you have easy run. Wednesday, light speed workout. Thursday, another easy run. And then Friday, you're getting another VO2 max workout. This time the repeats are maybe 2 to 4 minutes in length. The volume is no more than race distance, and you have a short recovery. So 2 to 4 minutes in length, okay? That might be 600s, 800s, 1,000 maybe, somewhere in that area. Saturday, you're doing a long run. You're doing 80 to 90% your normal long run, so you're reducing your long run somewhat. Why? Because you're getting closer to race day, big race day. And then Sunday is an active recovery day. You'll do an easy run of the race distance, whatever that is. If you're doing a 5K, then it's 5K, 3 mile active recovery day. If you're doing a 2 mile, it might be 2 mile active recovery day, or cross training. So then we come to the last phase, which is the peaking phase. And this is 3 to 4 weeks. Peaking phase. This is where you're becoming race ready. This is where you're getting your speed up for the race. This is where you're going to find out whether this conditioning up here is going to pay off. Did you condition yourself better than you did last year? It's going to pay off here because you're going to run better than you did last year. So the peaking phase is mostly speed workouts. It only takes 3 to 4 weeks of speed workouts to get race ready. 5 to 6 speed track workouts will do the trick. And halfway through this, you start your taper. The taper for the main race of the season. You're starting to cut down on your weekly mileage, right? So what might you see in a peaking phase? What kind of schedule might you see? Well, Monday you might have a VO2 max workout with repeats of 2 to 4 minutes with full recovery. So it's a VO2 max workout, but it's a shorter interval. It could be 600s, even 800s, maybe even 400s, something like that. But it's faster, but you get more recovery because you're gonna be running it faster. So it's got the flavor of a speed workout, but it's still a VO2 max workout. Tuesday, easy run, maybe 70 to 80% of your normal distance. Why? Because you're cutting down your distance a little bit. Maybe you're tapering. You're getting ready for the big race of the season. Wednesday, speed workout, high intensity speed workout. So this is where you're really ramping your body up to go as fast as it can, and you're lighting the candle maybe a week before the big race. High intensity speed workouts. These can be very short distance repeats, 200s, maybe 400s. Thursday, easy run. Maybe 70 to 80% of your normal distance is what you're going to run. Friday, you might race on Friday, or if you don't have a race, you do a race simulation or some kind of time trial. So you're running, 5K, but as if it was a race. Maybe with your team, it's a time trial. You're going at race pace, really ramping up the speed. That's what you're doing during this last peaking phase. You're ramping that speed up. You're becoming race ready. Race ready. And you're going to taper too. taper. Some people call it peak. The idea is a couple of weeks in a distance race before you hit the big meet, you start cutting down your weekly mileage. You don't cut down your high intensity training like your track workouts. You cut down your easy miles. And you cut it down, your body starts to recover, it feels fresh, so that on that main race of the year or the season, you're running as fast as you possibly can run. And that's where you're going to make your improvement from last season. You do this conditioning, and you squeeze it all down here, and you see what's going to happen. And if you've improved your conditioning, you're going to run better and faster. You should, if you've got a good coach who's programmed it properly for you. You know, the big question is, do you have a good coach? Do you have a coach who can create a training program that reflects this and has a substantial conditioning aspect to it? Because that's the only way you're going to improve from year to year. If you got a coach who's only concerned about, are you race ready, just amping you up using speed workouts, you're not going to get any better from year to year. You're going to run the same. And you got a bad coach. You really do. I don't know what else to tell you. See what you can learn on your own. Maybe you get some supplemental coaching help to help you get some conditioning, get a lot of conditioning. I mean, distance running is based on conditioning and all this stuff. And the base building you do in the off season and the conditioning you do, let's say you run cross country and indoor track and outdoor track, and it takes up the whole year. And hopefully you got a large conditioning component of each of the training programs for each of those seasons, because this conditioning has to occur at some point. It has to, and it's got to be part of one of those. It's got to be part of all three of those training programs. And then you got the summer. Summer's a big conditioning time. Is your coach being very thoughtful and spending a lot of time with you to try to make sure that you know what you're doing in the summer and that you run the appropriate conditioning program in the summer? Or is he taking the summer off and has really nothing to do with you? That can happen, especially with high school coaches. That's where your money is made. It's in conditioning. And it's not just the summer. Sure, the summer is a great time to work on conditioning for a cross-country season and overall general conditioning. But your conditioning's also got to be part of the training program for cross-country, for indoor track, and for spring track. You got to take advantage of the entire year to get in as much conditioning you can possibly get in before you hit the peaking phase and you become race ready. That's what makes you better as a distance runner. You can't you got to do this sort of base building and conditioning. You don't do it, you're going to be the same every year. And, maybe your coach, he doesn't care. He doesn't care if you get any better. He just likes how fast you are so he can win some meets or score some points with you. He doesn't care whether you get any better. It's not his problem. It's your problem. You want to race in college, or you want to, get a college scholarship in running or become an elite runner. It's your problem, maybe. Depends on what kind of coach. You got a bad coach, it's your problem. If you got a good coach, he'll help you with it, or she'll help you with it. I hope you do have a good coach, but you may have a bad one, and you got to take charge of it yourself and understand why you're not doing well. And if somebody, you're not improving, and if your coach is trying to tell you it's because your genes, you can't run any faster, that's just the way it is, you're born that way. That's a bunch of nonsense. That's a lie. It's just that your coach doesn't have to put any more effort into training you. And that's the sad truth. Or maybe your coach just doesn't understand what goes into an actual distance training program. You can get better as a distance runner. Absolutely. You can. It can be done. I think that's enough for now. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below in the comment section. Maybe I'll address them in a future video, or I'll address them directly in the comment section below. Please press the subscribe button. I appreciate it. Take care, runners.